Oh, what is going on, Ada Nation? Welcome back to Dap Central. My name is Fareed. I've been gone for a couple of days, but I am back home and safe after Rare Evo 2023. Yesterday, I did have a live stream breaking down my entire experience at this awesome event, which will also be taking place again next year. So if you guys want early access to cheap tickets for both general admission as well as the VIP pass, then go ahead and make sure to check out the link down below in order to go ahead and purchase those now. Now, as always, my goal is to provide you guys here with the latest news and updates going on in Cardano. And so today we're going to do just that. The very first thing I want to jump into is going to be some news surrounding the TVL as well as the Cardano staked on the network. And then I want to take a look at two tweets, one from Chris O and then one from CCV or Dan from Crypto Capital Venture, talking about where we could potentially be with respect to the market cycle and the fact that right now we might be heavy into depression. But as many of you know, after depression, there does come a spring. And then after that, there comes a bull market. So after that, we're going to jump into some news surrounding some protocols that have now gone live on the mainnet. Now, the first protocol that I want to touch on is going to be ADA Mail. I did touch on their mint, which took place on the 21st of August, but that has now moved over into the actual platform going live. So I want to take a quick sneak peek at that. I did actually mint my own NFT. And so again, I want to show you guys what that's all about. After that, I want to jump into the Clarity DAO, which is now also live on the mainnet, simplifying on-chain governance for anybody who doesn't want to necessarily build the infrastructure themselves, but wants to leverage their own community within Cardano. Last but not least, we've got a pretty big update coming in from the Blueshift team, which is going to be a cross-chain liquidity aggregator, which has now adopted wrapped smart contracts, simplifying interactions for the Cardano community on the Milkamada L2. So that's going to wrap it up there for today's agenda. As always, if you guys enjoy this kind of content, I would appreciate you if you could tap that like button. I'm also a single stake pool operator operating the DAP stake pool, which is stake pool ticker DAPP. That said, let's go and jump into our very first topic, again, touching on the Cardano price performance, and then we're going to jump into where we are within the market cycle. So what I have here is going to be a chart breaking down the Cardano performance, given the fact that we are now in 2023. So with respect to the TVL on Cardano, that is now up 338% year to date, and it's now sitting at $165 million US. With respect to the ADA staked on the network, that is up 311% since the beginning of the year, and we're now sitting at 610 million ADA currently staked. Last but not least, we have the price, which is probably the worst performing right now, but price tends to be a lagging indicator, especially with respect to the macro market and the fact that that also has a pretty big hold on the price action itself. So when we take a look at the price of Cardano year to date, it is up, but only 9%. And we're going to be comparing that to Ethereum and Bitcoin in a second, but we're now sitting at 26 cents and we had a low of about 23 or 24 cents at the very beginning of this year. So that's going to take me through the very first update touching on the Cardano performance when it comes to year to date. Next, we have the Cardano price performance compared to Ethereum and Bitcoin. And right now, Bitcoin is at about $26,000 US, and that is up 57% year to date, whereas Ethereum is right now at around $1,600, and that is up 38% year to date. And then last but not least, we have Cardano, which is up right now at about 6% year to date. And that does differ a little bit from that chart that I showed you guys there earlier, given the fact that they were posted at slightly different dates. So we're somewhere between the range of 6% all the way to 9% when it comes to Cardano's price performance year to date. But as you guys can see there, it is quite a ways away from some of the gains that the Bitcoin and Ethereum tokens have kept. I do think that parts of this was due to the naming of Cardano within the SEC lawsuits, not only for Binance, but also for Coinbase. And hopefully we get some clarity surrounding those. And I believe, just like with XRP, that we'll see a really big push in the Cardano price once ADA's name is cleared from being a security. Moving on to the next piece here, shout out to Chris O. You can follow him on Twitter at the OC Crypto Bro. I'll go ahead and leave the link to his Twitter page down below. He's been posting a ton of really solid information here, providing us with where we might be within the market cycle for crypto. So he states here, Cardano fam, pretty clear to me that we are now in the accumulation season. While general retail sentiment is in the depression phase, the whales are continuing to scoop ADA up. I am no whale, but I'm continuing to scoop ADA up myself. I really do believe in what we have here within this community, as well with all the builders that I just met in person at Rare Evo. Just to name a few, World Mobile, which has now released its eSIM and is now connecting members to its own network within the United States. We also have Indigo, which continues to just grow in terms of TVL and adoption with respect to its iAssets and CDPs, or collateralized debt positions. And then we also even had the Cornucopias game, which released a brand new build at this event. We also had Wi-Fi releasing their auto harvester and so many others here that I just don't have the time to name. But I want to say that, we are continuing to see the builders build even in the bear market. So continue to keep your eyes on Cardano, especially with governance on the horizon in the recent release of the Sancho Net. So pivoting back over into what Chris is talking about here, he's mentioning Wyckoff accumulation, which is a pretty standard pattern when it comes to how markets move. As you guys can see there on the very left-hand side, we have the preliminary support, which we already have gone through that phase. That was around the time that ADA broke down from anywhere between 70 to 80 cents, all the way down into the 45, all the way to 30-cent range. We then had the selling climax, which I believe took place around the beginning of the year, or at the end of the December timeline of 2022, where ADA hit that all-time low of about 22 to 23 cents. Now, following that, we did have a pretty big run up from the month of January all the way up to May, which Cardano went from 24 cents to about 45 cents. And then since then, we've had a second retest of those lows, bringing us back down to about 25 cents. Now, we've had a minor push up in the last month or two, and then we've retraced back down to the same exact range low, which is around that 26 cents, given the recent news coming out from the SEC. Now, if we take a look at what is potentially in the near future, as we get closer to the Bitcoin halving, which is scheduled right now for somewhere around the April-May timeline of 2024, so about 8 to 10 months away from the time that I'm shooting this video, it looks like we can expect to see some positive price action. So with respect to that, I think we are going to be seeing, or that we are somewhere around the spring stage. Hopefully we begin to see some continued accumulation and then some positive price action. And then after that, we'll begin to test some of our resistance points, I believe at around the 50 to 60 cents range. And if we're successful, we can then break out all the way up to $1, and then the rest is history as we kick off the next bull market, taking us anywhere between the $8 to $10 range. Not a personal price prediction, but just a gathering of multiple voices that I've heard and just been doing some research on my own to get an idea of where we could potentially see Cardano going. Now, to add to that, we've seen so much development, as I mentioned before, not only with respect to wallets, we've seen a ton of DEXs coming online. We've seen the launch of the Vassal hard fork. We're now expecting governance. We've had the launch of stablecoins. We've had the launch of DeFi protocols, and we're now expecting the rush for options as well as the rush for index protocols. So Cardano really maturing. We're not all the way there yet, but we continue to grow, and we're continuing to move up and to the right, like I showed you guys there earlier, with respect to the ADA staked and the TVL, when multiple other chains are actually going in the opposite direction. So don't take it from me. Take a look at the charts, take a look at the numbers. They do not lie. Last but not least, I did cover the Masari report in one of my live streams, so check that out. But that particular report touches on the number of users, the ADA staked, and just everything with respect to Cardano, some of the top used dApps, etc. And so for me, that was a really positive reassurance that we're continuing to grow even though we are in the bear market. Again, keep in mind that the macro news and the macro cycle does impact Cardano and crypto as a whole. But once we get a little bit more clarity with respect to the macro, you can definitely expect that Bitcoin and crypto will follow suit. Now, jumping into the next portion here, I do want to touch on a piece that was released by crypto recruiter or Dan Gambardello. And again, this is touching on the stages of the market cycle. So you can basically imagine that this was us here right around 2020 going into 2021, where we had the first top. And then we had a minor sell-off during the summer, followed by the second top. And then we have kind of seen the trail off into denial, panic, capitulation, anger. And I think we're now somewhere around the depression phase. So really kind of following suit with respect to Chris's tweet that I just mentioned there in my last post. And then after this, we have disbelief. And if you look back on the other side of the chart here, this is again where we pick back up. If I get myself out of the way there so you guys can see, we go from disbelief on the right-hand side here. And you can imagine it's basically coming out on this other side here as we jump into 2024. And then we have the Bitcoin halving. And then again, we jump back into hope, optimism, belief, thrill, and euphoria. Now, one thing that I'm definitely going to be trying to do a better job of this year is making sure to scale out as we begin to go into those euphoric stages. And that's when the general consensus is that the price is going to continue to go up, up, and up. And everybody at that point is in love with crypto. Another indicator that I'm personally going to be using is actually going to be my YouTube channel. Coming into the bear market, I've had a really hard time growing, but I have grown nonetheless. So I'm definitely thankful for the growth that I've had already, and the support that I've had here on the channel has been immense. But I think one thing to keep in mind, right, which is a clear indicator of the fact that we are in the bull run, is going to be the number of viewers that are coming in to watch and consume crypto content. So that's going to be one of the indicators for myself. But I'm interested in hearing, what else are you guys keeping an eye on as potential indicators for the bull market? That's going to tie that piece up there for the introduction of this video, touching on some of the Cardano stats. The next thing I want to jump into is going to be some updates surrounding ADA Mail. Now, I did release a fully dedicated video touching on ADA Mail already, so I'm not going to harp on this too much, but ADA Mail's goal is to provide mailing services as well as transaction services with your stake key and the ability to basically use that as a unique Cardano email address. A cool thing about this is that you can go ahead and actually plug it up to existing email services, which include Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, etc. Or you can use it as a standalone feature or a standalone platform if you wish to do so. I did also touch on the fact that they will have things such as calendars, etc. And then if you actually go ahead and scroll all the way down at the bottom of the website, you can go ahead and mint based on 3 different tiers. There's the base pass, gold pass, and the diamond pass. For full transparency, I just minted my own diamond pass. I really think that a platform like this does have some longevity here. And I'm thinking for the long term, especially as a content creator, for me to be able to quickly and easily reach out to members supporting me here. And then if I ever want to launch, for example, an NFT collection or something like that, I can actually go ahead and contact everybody holding a particular policy. As you guys know, I'm also a single stake pool operator. And so I can also actually use this to potentially connect and reach out to delegators within my stake pool. So the utility here is endless for a platform like this. And given the fact that I'm trying to run a business here within Cardano, I can definitely see myself leveraging the Diamond Pass in the near future. Now, if I jump over here, I want to play a quick video showing off the actual ADA Mail platform. Let me go ahead and maximize this here. So they've got support for the NuFi wallet. They've also got support for Nami, and I believe they're going to be adding support for a few other wallets, including Eternal. Now, once you go ahead and actually verify and authenticate, you'll be prompted to see a few different options here. So on the left-hand side there, we've got the inbox. They've also got some of the different folders within the inbox. As I mentioned earlier, they have access to a calendar, etc. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and pause this video here because I do have my own email already signed in. So if I go ahead and show this off to you guys, I've got mail here at the very left-hand side. Let me see if it's gonna load. There we go. I've got my inbox. I can actually select to view this email here. Pretty interesting. If I go over to the left again, we've got contacts, so I can have my own address book of emails that I contact on a regular basis. I've got my calendar for any events that I might want to schedule. I've got my settings here so I can change my preferences, my folders, my identities, responses, and filters. And then a really cool thing that I want to go ahead and play a little bit more with is going to be some of the apps. So I'm not sure exactly what kind of apps you can integrate in here, but I'll be doing a fully dedicated video once I've played around with this for you guys here in the Cardano community. As always, I'll go ahead and leave the link to this particular platform down in the video description below if you guys are interested in minting and getting access to ADA Mail. The next piece I want to jump into is going to be surrounding the Clarity DAO. Now, before I jump into that, if you guys are enjoying today's video, I would appreciate you if you could tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by the channel and you want more content like this, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions for me surrounding anything that we're touching on as a part of today's video, then make sure to go ahead and leave a comment down below. Jumping into the next update surrounding the Clarity DAO. After years of hard work, the first version of the Clarity protocol is live on Mainnet. I recently had Logan Poncho and Justin Schreiner on the channel to touch on their Agora style voting platform, simplifying governance for anybody who doesn't want to rebuild the wheel on their own. So please make sure to go ahead and check out that particular video if you guys want to get up to speed surrounding what Clarity is doing. They're also, I believe, on the test net. So if you guys want to maybe just play around with that, set up your own DAO and see exactly how that functions, you can go ahead and do that. Jumping back into the tweet, it states, you can now create an organization with custom and flexible governance rules using any Cardano native asset without having to code. That I think is the biggest offering there or piece of utility coming in from the Clarity DAO. And that is the fact that you don't have to code. So similar to Marlowe, where you're able to drag and drop and simply put together smart contracts, you can again do a very similar thing with respect to the Clarity DAO. So you don't have to be an expert with Plutus or Haskell. You can come in here, very low effort, create your own DAO, tie any NFTs, as well as adjust some of the voting power and policies, and then basically go ahead and leverage that to interact and get feedback, right, in a fair way from your own community. So I can definitely see a ton of projects utilizing this platform. I believe that Matera as well as Maze will also actually be using the Clarity protocol. And that's just 2 teams out of many that are going to be leveraging this platform. So if I head over to clarity.vote, we can see that there's already been a Clarity DAO created on August 16th. We've got the Coast to Coast Fantasy Premier League created on today, as well as the Blimp DAO and the Domino DAO. Again, I'll leave the link to the official platform if you guys want to find out more about what Logan and Justin from the team are bringing on into Cardano. Jumping into the next story here, and the very last one, I want to touch on the Blueshift platform adopting wrapped smart contracts. So I want to touch on, number one, what Blueshift is, as well as what the benefits are from these WSCs or wrapped smart contracts. So Blueshift is going to be a cross-chain liquidity aggregator, basically simplifying the ability to swap in and out of tokens across multiple chains. And a really big benefit of this is that you can now have liquidity basically pooled in from different networks. So I believe there's another platform called the Kyber network, which did partner up, I believe, with Meld, which is also doing a very similar thing. They basically are able to take a look at liquidity from a lot of different chains, aggregate that all in one place to simplify the trading and swapping experience between different networks. So that's the Blueshift platform in a nutshell. Now, I believe right now they are launched on Milkamada, which is going to be an L2 touching on Cardano or connected to Cardano. Now, when the Milkamada sidechain initially came out, you actually had to go ahead and not only have a Cardano wallet, you also had to have an Ethereum or an EVM compatible wallet in order to interact with the L2. Now, with these new wrapped smart contracts, that will no longer be the case. So it now states here, the Blueshift team will be unlocking seamless interoperability between Cardano and Milkamada through wrapped smart contracts. Let me zoom in just a little bit here, and we're going to touch on a few sentences. So the recent integration of wrapped smart contracts, or WSCs, into the Milkamada platform has dramatically expanded the possibilities for Cardano wallet holders. Now, users can seamlessly engage with the host of Ethereum virtual machine or EVM compatible dApps available in the Milkamada ecosystem, ranging from decentralized finance or DeFi to gaming, NFTs, and much more. Now, there's a need for these WSCs, and I want to touch on why that is. As I mentioned earlier, prior to the WSC rollout, transferring assets between a layer 1 blockchain like Cardano and a layer 2 solution like Milkamada was a complex task. The procedure often involved wrapping or bridging assets, right? And as well as utilizing multiple wallets and several other cumbersome steps. Now, with the adoption of the wrapped smart contracts by Milkamada, this will elegantly resolve the issues mentioned above by facilitating a simplified, unified user journey between the layer 1, which is going to be Cardano, and the layer 2, which is going to be the Milkamada sidechain. With respect to how the wrapped smart contracts will work, it states here that when connected to a WSC enabled dApp like Blueshift, your Cardano wallet will automatically generate an EVM compatible address. Before this, you actually have to create your own EVM compatible address, keep track of it, as well as manually make transaction in and out of that wallet. Now, because we don't have to do that anymore, this eliminates the need to manage private keys for another account. With the new WSC smart contracts, users can initiate the sign of the layer 2 transactions using their Cardano layer 1 account, removing the need to manually bridge assets or use Ethereum-based wallets to engage with the Milkamada dApps. So congratulations to the Blueshift team, again, simplifying the interactions between the Cardano layer 1 and the Milkamada layer 2 in order to simplify or make it easier for users to come in to actually use their cross-chain liquidity aggregator. If you guys have any questions surrounding that, make sure to go ahead and leave a comment down below. Ladies and gentlemen, that will take me to the end here for today's video, touching on Cardano, its price performance, and where we are within the market cycle. We also jump into some news surrounding ADA Mail, as well as the Clarity DAO going live on the Mainnet. And then last but not least, we just touched on Blueshift with their brand new smart contracts being developed on the Milkamada L2. If you guys found any part of today's video to be helpful or insightful, as always, I would appreciate you if you could tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by the channel and you want more content like this, breaking down Cardano, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions for me surrounding anything we've touched on as a part of today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and leave a comment down below. That said, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.